Hey guys, I'm here now with Alcorn, and it's a pleasure to be talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be talking to me and to our audience. Al is a very known person. You probably have played with his game, which is Pong. He's the inventor of Pong. He worked in Atari and was doing an awesome job in the Valley for these decades, right? So thank you very much.
Long time. Thank you. Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the Pong experience? How was it?
Yeah. I mean, I had as a youth, I was always interested in technology, fixing televisions and radios, vacuum tubes in those days, and I kept up with electronics and decided I wanted to be an electrical engineer. I wasn't quite sure what that really was, but I managed to get into Cal Berkeley and got a degree in electrical engineering, and lucked out and got a job at Ampex back in 1968 or so, and from that I met Nolan Bushnell and a bunch of the other guys, and we decided to leave Ampex, a real secure job, and do a startup. And back in 1972, people didn't do startups, but we were all young, and we said, what the heck, it'll be more fun, and we'll learn a heck of a lot. And I figured it would fail in a year or two, and I'd just go back to work at Ampex, but I would have learned a lot and had a lot of fun because I was young.
That's cool. And you were saying to me before that you just wanted to do Pong for fun, not for fun, but just to understand how it would work. And then it just became a huge success, right? Yeah,
because you got to realize back in 1972, televisions were only used for watching stuff that came off the air. That was it. You just sat back and watched it. And the challenge was to figure out how to make a video game. There were no other. There was computer space and some other big computer stuff, but a cheap game, and so the technology as an engineering project was a challenge. So we decided to make the very simplest game you could think of, which was Pong. Today it's still the simple one little spot moving around, two paddles, score, and a little bit of sound. And it was going to be a throwaway. It was going to just be, well, we'll get that done, and then we'll go on to the real game, which was probably going to be a driving game or something. But Nolan lied to me, told me he was going to be a real commercial product, so I worked real hard to make it playable, and at the end of 3 months, it was sort of playable, and we said, well, let's put it in a box, and we did. We put it in a cabinet with the coin mech on the side, and put it in a local bar with pinball machines there, and it's nice because you can test your product really cheap, really fast. They vote with their quarters, and it took off.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
But that was in 1972. 72.
Yeah.
Since then, the Silicon Valley just exploded with big companies like Apple and then Microsoft and other companies. How was living here and seeing everything happen? How was that?
Well, it was a much smaller world then, and indeed, when we started Atari in 1972. The tradition was big companies, was Lockheed and the semiconductor companies, and you had to wear a suit and tie, and you had to show up, work on time, and a 1-hour break, and it really wasn't that much fun. We were having fun. We all of a sudden started making money. We were very young. Much to my surprise, we sold $1 million worth of stuff in the first year, which is like, wow, that was amazing.
That's a lot.
And so we I think we were one of the first companies to adopt a very, very loose attitude, wear whatever you want, come in whenever you want, just get the work done and have fun doing it. But it was serious work.
And you told me that it came to a time that you had to hire a young guy there?
Well, we had to hire people, and you want to always hire the best people you can, And you always tend to hire in your own image. And I came out of Berkeley, during the 60s, hippie reading, writing revolution. And one time this young 18-year-old kid came in, and he was kind of a hippie and a dropout of college, and I figured I needed a tech. He wasn't an engineer, but he could solder, and I figured, God, this is really great. He's 18 years old and he's a hippie, so he's going to be cheap. And so I hired him, and he had a lot of passion. And I hired a lot of interesting people that way. Some did work out, some didn't. But this kid did. His name was Steve Jobs. He had this crazy idea for a home computer. Who would buy one of those?
And now it's the biggest company in the world.
They tell me, yeah. Yeah, and we helped him. I helped him get started. He offered us the product. We refused it. The Apple II, who would buy one of those? And he was kind of sad, like who's going to help him out? And we introduced him to a venture capitalist, Don Valentine, one of the few venture capitalists around at that time. And he managed to fund them. And I remember he came in and he said, Al, they're in a garage. Well, isn't that the Silicon Valley story, I said? And he said, yeah, but there's a car in the garage. It's his mother's garage. Well, get him a space, you know. Yeah. And he offered me stock for helping him. I'm going to let you buy stock. And I got enough wallpaper. I'll take a free computer. So I have one of the very first Apple IIs ever made in lieu of founder stock in Apple.
That's so interesting. And for me, coming here and seeing people like you that we're here, it's so incredible because we were talking in the same event, and then somebody just said, "Hey, that guy invented Pong." And I said, "Come on, really?" It's amazing. But hey, I really want to thank you for taking this time to have this conversation. Thank you so much. You really did an awesome job inventing Pong. I think that's something that really reshaped how people interact with technology.
It's very rare, very seldom that engineers and professional people get allowed to do something that touches so many lives. That was never my intent, but I'm delighted I was able to do it, and it's a great thing.
That's good. So thank you so much.
Sure.
Guys, if you like this video, please leave a comment, okay? And see you on the next one.